So, by now you've learned how to use machine learning to derive insights from textual data, and now I will teach you how to use a deep learning framework to derive insights from textual data, specifically carry out supervised classification using a deep learning framework, and the framework in question is known as the Doc2Vec workflow. And for that we are going to install and read in something known as the Doc2Vec package, but that comes in the subsequent lectures. The Doc2Vec framework is a deep learning algorithm that draws context from phrases. So what happens is that so far you've seen that the machine learning and the other natural language processing systems that we've been working with, they just look at a word, and that is what we saw when we were doing sentiment analyses with tidy text. So they just take a word, say handsome, and then they might decide whether it is a positive word or a negative word. And in many cases we saw that it's actually quite an accurate estimation, but sometimes what happens is that we may have a word like not good. Now a word like not good or not bad, they are not typically positive or negative, and it depends on the context. So it is there when deep learning frameworks like Doc2Vec come into play, and we are going to learn how to implement Doc2Vec in the subsequent 2 lectures. And now the upshot is that supervised machine learning algorithm requires that each and every textual document or tweet be represented in the form of a vector to start training on these docs, and this has to be done through vector space modeling. And Doc2Vec essentially expects us to create a vector space modeling framework to apply to work. So the crude workflow is that what we have is textual data, say written movie reviews, the kind of movie reviews you might read on IMDb, and we are going to use this particular text as predictors, and we've already done that before, to predict sentiments or ratings, which are going to be our response variable. We will carry out the usual pre-processing of textual data to generate DTM. We are going to carry out normalization using TF-IT, split into testing and training, and most of these things should be familiar to you. Then what we are going to do next is to convert documents to vector space from vocab-based DTMs. So the DTMs that we are going to generate are going to be vocabulary-based, and then we will convert them to vector space. And we are going to run through a series of steps which I'm going to demonstrate in the subsequent lectures, and you will be implementing them as it is on your own data. And then finally we will carry out machine learning based classification to predict reviews, and I'm going to use 2 different kinds of machine learning algorithms. For a binary problem, I'm going to use something known as GLMNet, and for multiple classification I will use something known as support vector machines. And in case these terms or if these techniques are unfamiliar with you, then these are things that pertain to machine learning applications and algorithms which I have covered in my other courses. So now we are going to actually go right ahead and learn to implement the Doc2Vec workflow on actual textual data, and depending on your problems you can adapt the same code to your problems even if you have limited machine learning experience.